Oh hey guys, so gonna do another video with no camera this time because well don't have a camera quite set up for my really good quality sounding videos, but one problem at a time. I plan to get a camera in this truck for when I do stuff on my computer, but I figured I would make a video because all you hear if you mention electric trucks or hydrogen trucks or vice versa, and you mention it to the older age range out here, the bracket, you're gonna hear the same shit. You're gonna hear nothing but hate, closed-mindedness, the same things, right? And since I'm a young guy, I'm only 31, right? Young out here. I mean, sure, still young, period, not even middle-aged, but the average age of a trucker is 55. So obviously, I'm really young out in this field. So, and since I grew up among two different eras, like I was born before the internet became a household, a commodity, before cell phones were a thing, like before CD players. Like I got to grow up across those two different eras and watch it and get to grow up with the transition. So I grown up with the adaptability of things, right? So I figured I'd give you a perspective on what I thought about electric trucks or hydrogen trucks and how I could see it happening. Because the race is in mid-swing right now. It's really taking off. Now, before I get into that, though, I figured I would talk about this Diesel Emissions Reduction Act, delivered $8 billion in health benefits in 10 years. Right as they started pushing emissions and started like wanting lower emissions from diesel trucks. Because let's be honest here, diesels were very dirty, right? Now they're extremely clean. With the newer trucks, like they're cleaner than gas. But I thought this was pretty interesting because this act started around 2005, but didn't really get in effect from 2008 to 2018. So this is what it's talking about. This whole Emissions Reduction Act pretty much saved people about 8 to 8.6 billion across their lifetime from health issues that could come from it. Cleaner air, means your body inside, organs, your lungs, and everything else are loving you more, so they're not gonna have as many problems. And if you say it's full of shit, think of it like the people that worked in the mines, right? Or the people that were up in the towers, or around the towers in 9/11. Look at how much health issues that came from just that little time frame. No, not so much the mines, but 9/11, little time frame of having all the debris. Because even still wearing masks, but you can't get everything. The mines, black lung is a thing for a reason. There's a reason why black lung people are getting paid. Well, they're mostly dead now, but they were getting paid a monthly benefit to make up for it. I mean, there's still some people alive that worked in the mines with the black lung and all that. But yeah, this is a real thing. But that's besides the point. Okay. Now, it's a race right now. Okay, so Cummins recently announced back in I think it was August and July that they're going to start working on hydrogen engines. Which are pretty much TLDR, water. It's a water truck, pretty much. Big tank of water, highly pressurized. It gets shot into things that I'm not a engineer or scientist, so I'm going based off my basic understanding. Is it shoots into things that gives the water fuel cell, like fuel to power type thing to pretty much power the engine, right? But it's pretty much a water truck. Pretty much what it is. Now, could this be... This is probably going to get here first. Water truck's probably get here first. Could this be better than electric? I don't know. Electric, honestly, in my opinion, is probably about... I'm not going to talk about local. Well, I mean, I will a little bit, but when I mean electric truck, and I'm talking about from a full... OTR's perspective, because that's where it's really going to count. Sure, local, like you can get electric cars locally and they'll be up and running much faster. I mean, they already are. but they really only have like 3 to 400 mile range, and that's about max is ever going to get for quite a bit. So they're not really going to. You really can't do anything with 3 to 400 mile range unless you have multiple trucks. So like you'll see them, for example, L.A. to San Diego, Phoenix to Tucson. You know, uh, autonomous trucks are a different story for now, but I mean that's also has issues. But like you'll see them where it makes sense. Like could I see them in San Jose, San Fran, Sacramento, or like Chicago, or these big, heavy populated areas where it's not a stop and go, but also has a lot of resources nearby. That's where you're gonna see the local trucks and electric, right? You're gonna see them where they make sense. You're not gonna see that local truck going from like L.A. to Phoenix though, because that's only 500 miles, but you're not gonna see it. You're not gonna see it from L.A. to to Las Vegas. You're not gonna see it going from L.A. up to San Fran, because that's like a couple hundred miles, yeah, give or take. I mean, so you're really gonna see it in a very centralized area where it has immediate resources, which. Yeah, I mean, just to charge the trucks alone is also the problem. So you're going to see them too where they have yards nearby to charge them, because charging stations aren't everywhere. The same problem Tesla's still running into. Like they're still trying to get their charging stations set up, and they're much smaller. But I don't really hate electric trucks. They have their perks and everything. But the problems, like, let's talk about the problems with these OTR right now. Other than this. Range, obviously, right? Range. The battery tech isn't here. Like, we're probably, if I had to guess, 15-20 years of minimum until we have the battery technology and the price down. Because what is it? Like, a battery pack for a Tesla is pretty much the price of the car right now, or really, really close to it, right? So imagine if for a truck where it's needs much bigger storage, more range. It's just like, God, I could easily think of the battery pack itself probably going to be like 30-40 grand just by the batteries alone. Then who knows how much to charge it. They're probably about the same price as diesel, or gas, like which probably is going to be. And so it's like, and then you get in the problems like, okay, going from like, let's say if you're going from Sacramento and you're going somewhere through Wyoming, through Nevada, through Utah. Through Nebraska, and it's wintertime, right? These are some of the common problems you got to tackle, right? So you're going through here and it's winter. What happens all of a sudden you're in Wyoming and an accident happens, you get shut down. So because this winter that you already have, like currently, you lose 60% of your range on electric vehicles. Anybody tells you otherwise aren't in a real winter area. There's a reason why you don't really see electric vehicles in the winter, in winter areas. Even though I've seen them plenty going through the state when it's snowing or when it's warm and all that. I see them plenty in even my state, but you don't ever see them out when it's winter. And this is tested, by the way. You can verify this. It is a 60% range reduction in the winter. Even though they're isolated, it's just can't do anything about the physics and the way cold reacts to batteries, especially current technology. So like you're sitting there on the side of, sitting there on the interstate shut down, and you don't know how long, because it's gonna you be there for a couple of days in Wyoming, so you don't know how long you get to a charging station. Probably gonna be at a truck stop, which also everybody else is gonna need. So how are you gonna tackle that? Sure, you can do solar panels, I guess, but it's the same thing satellite dishes have the issue with. You lose that when it's cloudy, which is a big problem in the winter states. And not everybody runs at the same time. Like trucking is a 24/7, around-the-clock job. So I run nights, so I would probably benefit from solar panels more than some people, but solar panels do nothing if you're out driving during the day. Like, you can't outcharge the energy you're spending. I mean, if they find a way to do that, that's gonna be amazing. Because then it's like, then the headache isn't as bad. But There's also no such thing as 100% energy efficient. Diesel's the closest. Diesel's 90% efficient, if I remember right. It's extremely efficient. That's the reason why diesels last as long as it has, because it's hard to replace it. How efficient diesel is. Gas, and if you think it like this way, there's a reason why you don't see anything that really does a lot of towing, a lot of hauling, is gas based, unless it's once in a blue moon, right? You're doing it sometimes. It's rare. It's not usual. But if you're doing a lot of towing, then they have a diesel engine. All by the efficiency. The efficiency means money, and money means a lot. So, then you got to tackle the problems of where you're gonna put the charging stations, how much, who's gonna come with the money. Because everybody's gonna try to pawn that cost off of somebody else, which ends up eventually coming down on the taxpayers anyways, because subsidies and all that. But there's that problem. Would going up a grade? No, because Tesla's claiming 0 to 60, or what was it, 60 miles per hour up a grade of 40,000 pounds, which is cool too. But that's another thing. Look at all this. Look at all this mountain terrain over here. I-70 goes through from Denver to Grand Junction. Look at all that. That's a lot of climbing. Miami looks flat, but anybody who goes across I-80 right here knows it's not. It's not flat. It's a lot of climbing. Look at this. Okay, here's an I-90. That's a lot of climbing too. Even Washington, right? There's Snoqualmie. Portland goes. Portland over here is pretty flat, but there's some spots where it's pretty hilly. Then if you're going down I-5. I-5 is a major corridor for trucking, right? Look at all those mountains and hills. Pretty much once you hit Redding and you're climbing up into Eugene, it is non-stop up and down, right? So you got that. Then look at this. Here's Donner's Pass, Sacramento, Reno. You got all these mountain grades. It's not so much the problem down in the south and southeast, because here's the Appalachians. You still got mountains. Well, they call them mountains. I call them just giant hills. But Appalachians. And when you're having to put power down like that, even diesels, I can go from 8 miles to the gallon, right, which is great in a truck, especially when I do 70. But I can go 8 miles to the gallon. All of a sudden I start climbing. I'm getting 2 an average most of the climbs. So if diesel's doing that, what do you think electric's gonna do? It's gonna just drink your batteries dry. It's gonna just drain them. You ain't gonna have juice left. And there's not a lot. Also batteries are heavy. So that's a problem with hybrid cars right now, and even electric cars. They're heavy because those batteries are so big. That's a lot of weight you're adding onto your truck. My truck already, I have a 21 Freightliner. It's already pushing 20,000 some change. That's just a truck alone by itself. I think it was almost 21,000. Yeah, Freightliner's pretty heavy. It's kind of surprised me. So it's that's another problem. You could easily put on an extra 5,000 to 7,000 pounds just with battery pack alone. Then that's taking freight away from you. And now I do like the concept. I do like what the electric would do in the long term. Well, I'm also like I said, I like tech. I grew up with tech. I don't mind tech. I also adapt easy. You'd laugh how many truckers I see out here struggling on their smartphone, and that's simple compared to electric truck. But think of it like this, right? Although I think electric reefers are going to be here first. Having electric trailers are going to be, that would be smart to start. But electric engines, right? In a Meant truck where you could have a full electric truck and a trailer. That'd be so quiet. You wouldn't have people idling away, especially in the winter. They have to understand though too. There's another problem they're gonna have to tackle. Trucks are becoming more and more like mini hotels, right? A fridge, TV, a microwave, computer. The truck is also starting to put more load on the batteries. Inverter, although you wouldn't need an inverter if you have all electric truck, because that would solve that problem. Just put normal house plugs in your what was it, 115s? Yeah. And that puts extra load on the battery, so. Pretty much currently normal batteries, and I use AGMs, but normal batteries with the inverter, the APU, you're only really getting 1 to 2 years out of them. And these batteries are cheap, but like it's anywhere from $700 to $1,000 to replace my batteries, when that happens. So how often am I gonna have to replace the batteries in electric trucks? I think electric will be here at the very, very end. People used to ask me, and I would say probably looking at 30 to 50 years before electric is here and fully ready and everything, because the tech's just not here for it. Like I'd love to see it, because electric has plenty of benefits. Problem is though, the people are trying to they're trying to rush it. It's pretty about Elon Musk, who used to be everybody's celebrity crush, right? Back when Tesla was in California, and then they found out he was they didn't agree. Like one group of people found out that he didn't agree with what they thought. He had different opinions, and then became the enemy. But he moved out of California, took his business to Texas, and then he said, the problem is too many people are trying to rush to electric instead of understanding that needs baby steps. When you have pretty much your electric daddy, I guess at this point, because he's the one kind of started it all, saying you still need fossil fuels. You can't just flip a switch and all of a sudden go from fossil fuels to electric. You need baby steps to get there. So while in theory, yes, electric trucks are nice, but there's a lot of problems to tackle. A lot. Hydrogen? That's another thing. Could that be a temporary stopgap? Yeah. What you're noticing lately is manufacturers are trying to make their engines run on multiple fuel, kind of like flex fuel back in the day, on multiple fuel, meaning natural gas, which has its own problems. It tends to be gutless, but natural gas, hydrogen, diesel, for example, where did I find it? It's somewhere in here. Yeah, Cummins reworking its engines family to run on multiple low carbon fuels, and it says it wants to. They think this will reduce their emissions from their new engines 25% by 2030, right? And pretty much, like I said, it would run on those three main fuels. There was this other thing, this little generator thing. I can't find it. I remember seeing it. There was a little generator that would go underneath the hood of a truck, and it would be able to run and convert multiple fuels. It has something else going on with that too. I can't remember that thing is though. But yeah, there's ways, Cummins just add another engine where there's gonna bring natural gas to 15 liter, which makes sense considering they're getting ready to convert all their engines to run on multiple gas. But this was from October 18th, 2021, so they've been working on this for a bit. Hyzon Motors was the one that was kind of starting hydrogen fuel over there in the UK, but now they're kind of bankrupt because not bankrupt, but they're hurting after some money troubles. So Cummins is probably going to be the one that's going to lead it. But the problem with hydrogen too is they're going to be expensive. Hydrogen is not exactly cheap. Remember all that talk about the hydrogen cars, and then once people found out how much it cost, they kind of cratered away. Oh, it's okay. So that natural gas 15 liter comes out in 2024, so it comes out in 2 years. Then they plan to have this engine for 2027, it seems. Now, where are they going to be able to charge this? Like, how would we get our water for this? Do you know why truck stops are so efficient? And another reason why diesel's kind of been around too? Because the amount of fuel you need to store in one truck stop, busy truck stops will run out of fuel in less than a day. If they don't get their fuel supply. And also, like, for example, car diesel pumps, meaning, ones that trucks can get into, but car diesel pumps, they're putting out, anywhere from 2 to 6 gallons per minute. Well, truck pumps are putting out 60 gallons per minute. For example, I filled up, what was it, 172 gallons. And that took my truck, about 13 to 15 minutes on average, somewhere around that. So, they're going to need pumps and big old stations for water. Where are they going to put them? Because, we're already having truck parking issues, and that's a simpler problem to fix. Where are all these charging stations going to go? It's easier out west to do, but then you start going out east, especially northeast, you're kind of screwed. But like, it's the further east you go, the harder it gets because it's just too dense, too populated. Land is valuable and like very expensive. It's California over here has that problem down here in SoCal area, but the valley between pretty much in this range, a lot more land. Vegas or Nevada, Utah, Arizona. How are you gonna handle the drought over there? How are you gonna? Because you could use the water. You have some natural like participation recycling from the natural recycling of the earth. Because irrigation ditches, that's partly what they are. You pull the water, then you can just filter. You can easily convert that into drinking water if you have the right filter and everything. So like, there's a way to do that too, instead of always having to like transport water up into the desert states. But there is, like I said, there is so many problems. I don't know exactly how they're gonna do everything because obviously they get paid the money to figure it out. But they should realize they need truckers' perspectives, and to kind of help them guide themselves. But I don't know. Like, I'm not opposed to the idea. I'm not. I'd like to actually see electric trucks. But there are so many bridges to cross. But anyways, what are your guys' thoughts? If any of your the older bracket out there wants to see electric trucks, hey, post a comment. Let me know. Just give me your thoughts. Anyways, you guys stay safe out there. Catch you next time. Bye.